Okay, I've updated this slideshow, so it might be a little different from what you guys seen before if you've seen it. So today we're going to talk about preparing for an open house. I know, Sam, you've held open houses before, and Zach's had an open house with me, so you guys have a little bit of experience with open houses. So let's go through it. So what you're going to learn is preparation for the open house. What do you have to do to prepare for the open house? What to do on the day of the open house. Buyer or potential seller interaction. I guess it would be potential buyer or potential seller interaction. And then safety. So we'll start off with, what's an open house? It's a simple yet powerful tool. An open house is a scheduled time when a property is open to the public for viewing. Pretty simple. It's hosted by a realtor or a real estate agent or homeowner, usually a real estate agent. It allows potential buyers to tour the property at their convenience. It's a great way to generate interest and attract multiple offers. So they're pretty cool because sometimes when you have a full open house, it creates a little bit of a frenzy when they see like other people are interested in this house. And then they're gonna want to hurry up and submit an offer, and then you get all these multiple offers and outbidding each other and so forth, right? So benefits of an open house. The benefits for sellers, why sellers love open houses, is increased exposure. You reach a wider pool of potential buyers, right? Maybe some people that saw the listing online, the open house online, are gonna come through. You might have neighbors that are gonna come through and they might know someone that's thinking about buying. Or you might have drivers that are driving by and see your open house signs. They're like, oh, there's an open house, let's go look. Faster sales. So it attracts multiple offers to speed up the selling process. Market feedback. Gauge buyer interest and receive valuable feedback. Open houses are good because you saw people were like, oh, this is big. Oh, hey, there's no bathtub in the house, and that's kind of like a no-no for me, and whatever. So you get important feedback that you can bring back to the sellers. And sometimes you're wondering, why hasn't this sold? Well, these are reasons why. Negotiation leverage. Use buyer interest to your advantage in negotiations. So this is pretty much saying, if a buyer comes to you wanting to submit an offer, I already have 3 or 4 offers. So if you want to submit an offer, you should probably come in above this price, right? So you can get more for your seller. Benefits for buyers. Why buyers attend open houses? The convenience. They view multiple properties without scheduling individual appointments. That could be a pain to have to schedule all these appointments and then make it on time to those appointments. This way they could just drive around and decide where they want to go. The open houses are from 1 to 4 or from 10 to 2 or whatever time, and they have those hours to go visit the open houses. No pressure. Explore homes at your own pace without feeling obligated. Discover hidden gems. Find properties you might not have otherwise seen. Neighborhood exploration. You get a feel of the community and the surrounding area. So when an agent shows a property to a potential buyer, they're going straight to the property, and then they're going straight to the next property and so forth. When they're going to open houses, the buyers get to look at the neighborhood, take their time. There's no rush. And benefits for the listing agent. It shows the seller that you're working. You can pick up potential buyers. That's always good. Exposure. Your signs are going to be everywhere, so the neighbors get to see you and it's marketing for you. Preparation for the open house. So what do we have to do to prepare? So this is not the day of, this is like probably the week, 2 weeks before, if you know you have an open house coming up. Tips for a successful open house: staging, present the home in its best light. Marketing, promote the open house effectively. Accessibility, ensure easy access for visitors. So make sure that there's nothing in the way of the front door, or make sure that the day you're having an open house, there's not construction on the road that's gonna block their access. Hospitality, create a welcoming atmosphere, right? We wanna do that. Schedule professional cleaning service if needed, so sometimes there might be pets or there might be stains on the carpet, whatever it is. You probably had already discussed this with the seller before coming on the market, so this is probably done by now. Contact and book a staging company, and this is probably already done by this time, right? If you're holding an open house, if it needed to be staged. Purchase your open house signs if you have not already done so. I would suggest at least to buy at least 20. You might not need all 20, but at some point at an open house, you might end up needing that many. And make sure to include your name, the DRE license number, broker name, and phone number. Just like the example there. Well, let me go back to this. So the reason you want this many signs is because there might be different entry points into the neighborhood. And there might be 2 major streets, one on each side, or maybe 3 major entrances. And you want to direct people from that are driving by those major streets into the neighborhood and turn left, turn right until they get to your property, to your listing. And that might be 15, 20 signs if there's that many entrances. So you want to bring traffic in from all directions. So before the open house, you also want to post the open house time and date on the MLS. And if you're not the listing agent, make sure let's say you're holding an open house for somebody, make sure that they post the open house on the MLS. And if you're not sure, log into the MLS, look up the listing, and then right under the photo, it should have when the next open house date is. If you don't see it there, make sure you contact the listing agent and say, hey, I need you to put that on there because otherwise no one's going to show up. Make sure to open the house, make sure the open house shows up on Zillow. For some reason, sometimes they don't. So when you check the MLS and you see the open house posted on Zillow, the time and date posted on the MLS, go on Zillow and make sure that they're also posted on there. That's where you're gonna get most traffic from. Social media, post to Facebook and Instagram, something announcing the open house. You can email the open house information to all the agents in our office. If you send me an email announcing your open house, time and date, and maybe a picture and brief description of the property, I can send it to all of our agents in the office announcing the open house. Maybe they have clients that might be interested and they can send them on over. Schedule the open house in the MLS early in the week to ensure that it populates all other websites or portals. So if you know you're planning on doing an open house on the weekend, I would have it up no later than Wednesday, or add it to the MLS no later than Wednesday, because sometimes it takes 1 or 2 days to populate into Zillow or all these other websites. So the sooner you get it in, the sooner it's going to populate to Realtor.com, Zillow.com, Trulia.com, ColdWeatherBanker.com, all the websites. Any questions? Anything so far? Man, we're going through this pretty quick. All right, so design, print, and send out open house invitations to the neighborhood. You do this the week of. Design and print property flyers for buyers to take home. And this is important. We've already gone through the listing where you end up hiring a photographer, professional photographer, and you create flyers and all that stuff. But you want to make sure you have them out because buyers might be going to different open houses that day. And they might have gone to one, they might have gone to 10 different open houses. And this is going to help them remember which house they looked at, right? Maybe this is their favorite house, but when they get home, because there was no flyers, they're like, God, what address was that? What was the property that I fell in love with that had the kitchen? Well, guess what? This one's gonna have pictures of the kitchen. You're gonna remember that kitchen, right? So that's important. And it also has your contact information on it. So if they did want to submit an offer and they don't have an agent, they're gonna call you directly. And there's templates that you can use on Moxie Impress, Listing Concierge, and the Marketing Center, all within My CB Desk. So it's pretty cool. You just upload the photos, add the description, and there's different templates you can choose from. Pre-open house suggestions. Order shoe covers and a flyer stand if needed. You can get this from a title company. yeah, just can reach out to Mary. And shoe covers are important because you don't want people tracking dirt or mud through the house, right? If there's like nice carpet or nice clean hardwood floors, you don't want them scratched. But it also shows the seller that you're taking care of their house, right? And then flyer stand to put your flyers in. You can buy bottled water or other beverages for visitors. This is like really important during the summertime when they're driving around looking at other open houses, well, just open houses in general. Nice ice cold bottle of water. When they walk in, that's so refreshing. And you can put like custom labels, just print some 2x4 labels with your picture and contact information like a business card and just slap it on the water bottles over the original label. You can buy a scented candle or a bottle of scented Lysol just to, you know, some homes might have a little bit of a lingering cooking smell, right? Someone just cooked, but, you know, I'm gonna talk about that later on, but maybe buy some cookies or pastries for visitors. This can, you know, let them hang out a little bit longer and talk to you and look around a little bit longer. You also want to preview other listings in the neighborhood on the week of. That way you know what's on the market, in case buyers come through. You have talking points, right? You can say, oh yeah, the one down the street is a little bit smaller. It's not the exact same model, but blah, blah, blah. And they know that you're the expert, right? You've been in that house. Look up print and study other listings and comps sales pending in the neighborhood. This is going to be important because again, you're going to want to discuss the recent sales. I like to have a list of the recent sales for the last, I don't know, 3 months in front of me. So when people come in and say, oh yeah, that one sold, I said, no, it didn't. That sold for this much. Here's proof, right? Or they try to justify like why they would submit, why this property's not worth that much, but you can say, look, all the comps say that it's worth that much. Here's the list. This will show potential buyers that you know the local market. If a buyer didn't like the house, you can arrange to show them other homes at a later time. And that's why you have this list, right? You can say, look, there's 3 other properties. There's 3 other properties in the neighborhood, and you know, 2 of them are 4 bedrooms. If you're looking for a 4 bedroom, I can take you to look at these homes. Instruct the seller to lock up or remove any jewelry, medications, or other valuables for security reasons. I had forgotten to put this in the last presentation, but I try to bring it up. I want to make sure to put this in there because it doesn't happen that often, but there's times when there'll be groups of people that'll go into an open house and one will distract the agent and sit there talking to the agent and asking questions and comments or whatever, while the other one goes into the master bedroom, looks through all the drawers, looks for jewelry, goes into the bathroom, looks for painkillers or whatever it is that they're looking for and take, yeah, so make sure that you instruct the sellers to put all those things away or lock them up or do whatever, but just keep them out of the house or something. Instruct the seller to declutter and clear any tables or countertops, right? You've already gone over this during your listing presentation and appointment. You discussed all this and they're aware of it, but maybe they had just cooked something that morning and they have things all over the countertop or dishes or whatever. Make sure that that's all cleared. There's nothing on the counter, on the tabletops either. Instruct the seller not to cook anything that will leave a lingering smell. There's, you know, God, I remember my mom making like chili that she puts in like in meat, and she like a salsa type chili where she cooks these peppers on the pan, and then you breathe it, you just start coughing from the burnt pepper, and then that smell lingers in the air, and you're just like, oh God, like, and then there's different cultures that have different scents, right? That just leaves a lingering smell in the air, and just hey, just don't cook anything this morning. Let's just, you know. And if so, that's why you have the either scented candle, hopefully on hand, or maybe like a can of Lysol with a scent, like a nice flowery scent or whatever it is, vanilla, just a pleasant smell. Instruct the seller to take any pets away during the open house. So if they have dogs or cats, say, please take them away during the open house.
iguana or lizard, that kind
No,
of.
that's different, that's different, because they're enclosed.
Okay.
Yeah, unless the iguana is like just roaming around the house, then say take the iguana away. Some
Okay.
people let them walk around the house, I guess. So on the day of the open house, arrive early,
Mhm.
address any lockbox issues. We had an agent that said that they were having trouble opening the lockbox when they were showing property, and they were just like, I think it was Sonia, she couldn't open the lockbox. Gives you time to get situated and set up, and familiarize yourself with the home and features of the home and the layout. So this is, if you're holding an open house for someone else, for another agent, you don't really know the layout of the property. Hopefully you had visited the house earlier, so you know what the layout's like, but if this is your first time at the property, you wanna know where the bedroom's at, you wanna know where the bathroom's at, you wanna know where, where everything is. So when someone asks if they come in, you're just like, oh, I'm not sure, this is my first time here, let's look around, right? So familiarize yourself with the home's features. Post a sign stating that there are cameras recording, if there are cameras recording. If there's cameras in the house recording, you have to post a sign saying that
Oh.
there's cameras. Door knock the surrounding neighborhoods with open house flyers, postcards, personal invitations. By now, you probably already mailed it. So everything that I'm telling you guys here, you don't have to do all of this. These are things that you can do that are gonna help you be more successful. Not everyone's gonna do everything. Maybe some of you are gonna do everything. But knocking the 50 surrounding homes prior to the open house, or maybe scheduling a specific time for neighbors to come through. You could do that, kind of give them a sneak peek, make them feel special. And there's someone knocking on the door. Place the maximum number of open house signs throughout the neighborhood. Oh, there you go. I just had fun with this. Print out representation agreements.
Yes.
Which ones? The open house visitor non-agency disclosure. And that's what that looks like. And this is for either buyers that come through that are already working with an agent, or they don't want to work with you and they want you to answer questions. So you can answer questions that they ask. I guess it's kind of been changing. Anything that's on the flyer, if they have questions about it, you can answer. Anything that's in the MLS, the information, but anything other than that, they want to know what the HOA fees are, or they want to know if there's any, I don't know, just anything other than the information you've already provided, you can't answer that. Sorry, I don't represent you, I can't answer that question. But if you sign here saying that I don't represent you, like it's consensual that I don't represent you, I can tell you whatever about the property, but know that I'm talking to you with my seller's best interest in mind, right? So I guess if you just talk to them and answer questions that like information that's not on the flyers or public information, then there's like insinuation that there's agency there. So you have to make sure that if they don't want you to represent them, that they sign this, or if they have an agent, that they sign this. Not sure if that was clear or not.
I just don't talk to people who doesn't want to work with me.
Okay, so
I'm like, okay, bye.
so the next one is the property showing and representation agreement. And with this one you could fill in up to 3 properties. You want to have one or a couple of these sitting there with the property address of that property you're holding an open house for. And you can leave this blank and just add it later, but you want to have a representation period between beginning for A, beginning this date and not to exceed 30 days, I guess. This is for someone that wants to submit an offer on only this property. They don't want to sign a contract with you to show them all of Irvine, all of Orange County, and show them all these properties. This is the buyer coming in and saying, hey, I'm going into open houses and I'm going directly to the listing agent. I want you to represent me for this house. And then I'm gonna go to this open house over here and have the listing agent represent me to make an offer on that house, right? So this is if they only want you to represent them for a particular house. Okay, and then the next one is the buyer representation and broker compensation agreement. And this one is the representation agreement that says, I would like you to represent me to look for a house in the city of Irvine or Orange County, for up to what, 3 months. So this one can go up to 3 months, and this is like, Mr. Agent, Mrs. Agent, I wanna work with you for 3 months. Show me all the houses, you can submit all offers on my behalf, and that's what this form is pretty much for, and they're agreeing to pay you a commission. So you guys understand the difference between the three, right?
So the property showing, they sign that if they only wanna show, they wanna have an offer on that one property.
Or that property or a specific property.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's only if, see how I typed in the property address up there? So with this one, you can type in a property address for let's say, hey, I only want you to represent me on these 3 properties only. And you can enter the 3 properties, but usually it's for that one property. So if a buyer comes through and they say, hey, I want to submit an offer, but I don't want you to show me houses, I just want to submit an offer on this one, I would use this one. Say, okay, let's do it. And you also want to print out the MLS listing for personal reference. There might be some information on there that can't memorize, and you just want to have that to reference back to, like, oh, it was built in this year, it was this square, the lot is this big, the property is this big, the HOA amenities are this, and that, whatever. It's got, I don't remember what kind of countertops. Oh, it's here on the MLS. It's got, whatever. So it's a good reference sheet. And then have a market update handy. We talked about this, having a list of active, pending, and sold, maybe the last few months. And then set up your property flyers, your business cards, any supporting documents, maybe school information, walking, sport, things like that. So it's cool to know what schools are around there and where they're located. Some families might walk in and say, hey, do you know where the local elementary school? Yeah, you go up 2 blocks and turn left, and it's right there. It's walking distance. I mean, I think you could say walking distance. You can't type it in the MLS walking distance, but you can tell people it's walking distance. Have a few buyer guides ready. There's a buyer guide on CV Desk in the marketing center. You can download it and customize it, or just leave it as is. It's pretty cool. Or you can have the title company provided, but they have buyer guides, explains to them what the buying process is, and escrow and title and everything involved. So that's a pretty cool thing to have. The day of the open house. Day of the open house. It's having this guitar music. And I have only had compliments with this music. I've only heard compliments like, oh, I really like the music at the open house. But this is what I have like in the background. I take a little Bluetooth speaker, just as background, and I turn on Spotify and First Mention Car Station and play. And it's pleasant music. You don't get tired of it. If possible, have a host of or you can have another agent, or you can have like letter and things like that. So buyer and potential seller interaction. So now you're at the open house and people are walking in, and how do you interact with them? The main reason to have an open house is to find your seller the perfect buyer. And to simplify it even further, a seller is looking for a buyer to buy their home. And a buyer is looking for a home. Hey, that's a match, right? Looking for someone? Hey, I got someone. And keep in mind that your service is on display for potential buyers and sellers that walk through that door, so remember to keep it professional. Don't be rude. I'm not saying you're rude. I'm saying don't be rude when people walk in. If they have questions, answer their questions, right? If they wanna chit chat, light chit chats, that never hurt anybody, it just makes you look friendly, more approachable, right? So keep it professional, although sometimes people share more than they should be sharing with you,
Yeah.
okay? So ask the buyer if they're working with another agent. If so, have them sign the open house non-agency if they're working with another agent. Again, we've already gone through this. You can only share information with them that's public knowledge already on the MLS or on the flyer. If they'd like more information about the property or submit an offer, you can have them sign the property showing representation agreement or the buyer representation agreement. So here's a couple scripts that you can use at every open house to help understand the reason why each visitor is there. So first script, welcome. My name is Carlos. Did you come in to buy your dream home or to figure out how much your home's worth? Simple, right? This forces the visitor to choose and actually say something. They're gonna say yes, they're gonna say no, or they're gonna answer, with whatever, I'm looking to buy, or I'm just the neighbor. Here's another one. So, welcome, my name's Carlos. Are you looking to buy a new home or are you comparing home values? And again, you're gonna put this the way you talk, right? Not scripted like this. So now, whether you ask the question at the time they walk in or later on in the tour, it doesn't matter, just ask it. You might be busy with somebody else when someone walks in, so you're not able to ask them this question, right? But when you're finished with this person and then you see them walk by, you can ask them, you can say, hey, welcome, do you have any questions, blah, 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 whatever. So the goal for using these scripts is to help put the visitor in the buyer, seller, or curious neighbor column. Before I only had buyer or seller column, but I added an extra one in there because, the neighbors, they want to see the house. And that way you know exactly how to follow up. If they're a buyer, you're gonna follow up one way. If they're a seller, you're gonna follow up another way. If they're a neighbor, totally different thing. If a potential buyer or seller asks to work with you, make sure to ask them if they're working with another agent. I can't stress this enough. You don't want to waste your time with a buyer that has a contract with another agent. Let's go past this. If the buyer's not working with another agent and they don't like the house, if the buyer's interested in the property, use your knowledge of the local inventory to talk about other properties and set an appointment on the spot. And that's why you have that printout. You don't like this property, what don't you like about it? Oh, I need one more bedroom, or I need another additional bathroom. Oh, hey, great, there's another one on the market in the same neighborhood that has three bathrooms instead of two. I'd like to take you to look at it. What time's best for you? Have them sign a contract, right? If not, yeah, maybe another house, if not this house. Potential buyer script. I know a few homes that are on the market that would meet your needs. Let's say it differently, right? Okay, there's other homes on the market. You're looking for a 4-bedroom, there's a 4-bedroom on the market right now. Let's go take a look at it after my open house. Would you like to see one of them? In order for me to be able to show you a property, we have to sign a representation agreement. This is a new requirement for all agents to be able to show properties. So you have to bring this up. Let them know that it's the new way of doing things, right? When is the best time for you to see one of the homes or to see one of them? I'm free as I'm done here, but 4 o'clock or whatever it is. If not, let's get together on Saturday or on Sunday or whatever it is. What's the best phone number or email for you? And this is just to get you guys thinking, right? You don't have to say these exact words, just think about what you're gonna say. So a buyer that says, oh, I'm just looking. As an agent, you say, oh, that's great. It's always good to look first and get a sense of the market. Are there things about this property that you're looking for that you like? Or things that you dislike? And you'll get to know what they're looking for, right? And you could say, I have a few other listings that you might like in the neighborhood, in that particular neighborhood, or the neighborhood next to it, as well as another open house next Saturday or next Sunday if you want to if you want to visit me then. So, potential seller conversational questions or informational questions. But someone that's selling that, if you ask and they say, oh, I'm just, I'm thinking about selling my house and, you know, I'm just coming to look at the property to see what that looks like compared to mine, whatever it is, right? Whatever they're looking for. Questions you can ask are, how long have you owned your property for? They own it for a year, 10 years, 20 years, and then that can go off into more conversation, right? Oh, we moved here because blah, 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 and now, you know, we're moving out because our kids moved out, and it leads into more conversation and more information. When were you thinking of putting your home on the market? This gives you more information as to like why they have to sell, how soon. So let's say I'd like to put it on as soon as possible because I got to get out of here. I bought a house in another state and whatever. Or I don't have to sell it till like summertime, but you know, in the meantime, this is cool because now you can schedule a time with them. Maybe there's look at the house and see if there's anything that needs to be done to it, right, to get more money for it. What's the reason you're moving? You probably already got that answer from these other questions, but you want to know what the reason is. Maybe relocation, maybe downsizing, or you need more space. You can tell them, I'd love to see your home. Do you have time today after my open house? This can create an opportunity to get a listing, right? Maybe give them suggestions. Book the appointment. Now, safety. That's pretty quick. Let someone know where you're gonna be and how long you're gonna be there for, when you're doing an open house. Especially if it's an area that you're not familiar with. I would never suggest or recommend to do an open house at nighttime. Because, yeah, why do an open house at night? So keep it in the daytime. Yeah, let someone know where you're gonna be at. If you don't have a friend, tell your broker, tell a family member, this is where I'm gonna be from this time to this time. Have another agent or loan officer with you at the open house. It's cool to have a loan officer there because if a buyer walks in, they don't know like what their payments would be based on this price and this much down. And then the loan officer's there to give them all that information. So it's good to have someone like that there because now you have someone that's gonna help them with the loan and someone with help them with the purchase. Plus you're safer, right? Because you have another person there. Familiarize yourself with all the exits of the home so that you can escape safely. If there's an emergency and you're not able to exit through the front door. So again, that's why when you show up early, you get to walk around the property, learn where all the exits are. Maybe like a window big enough to jump out of and that opens and closes easy, if you have to. So safety. Post a sign that implies that there's cameras. So maybe there's no cameras, but put a sign up anyway. Smile, you're on camera. And then it'll make people think twice if they have malintent. Might be a good idea to carry pepper spray in case of an emergency. It's not a bad idea, especially for smaller people, women, small men. You know, it's someone that's just not just weak that doesn't maybe. You should work out. I'm just saying. I'm just saying you should work out. All right. So any questions? And we went through that pretty quick. There was no questions. Sam, any questions?
No questions. I came to come across a couple of questions to ask visitors at open houses that were pretty good, that got them pretty engaged. Like what are some of your goals with your next move? Or if you were to move, where would you go and why? And that seemed to get a lot of people engaged. So that's just a suggestion for questions to ask when people walk in.
So give us some feedback on how the conversations went. I mean, aside from the questions you asked, but like, how was the interaction between you and the visitors of the open house? Because I know you've held a few open houses.
Yeah, well, one of them was a neighbor who just wanted to see what her neighbor's place looked like. And we asked, if you were to move, where would you go? And then she said like towards like San Clemente because her grandkids are down there and whatnot. And then we asked how long she'd been there. We sent her a property report. There was no follow-up. She didn't really get back with us on anything, but she did like engage in conversation once those questions were asked.
Alright, so Zach, what did you think about the, you sat at an open house with me, what'd you think of the interactions, like?
I mean, there was a lot of neighbors coming in, just kind of checking it out.
Yeah.
Kinda seeing what the price was and stuff like that. Kind of rudimentary kind of.
But they were pretty chatty, right? They're
Yeah,
pretty
they were.
open and open to talk, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people are, I was surprised at how friendly the neighbors were in that neighborhood.
Mm.
They
The one
were-
lady was really, the older lady who came first, she was really chatty about her maybe her daughter wants to move here or something,
Yeah.
like right next door. to
Yeah,
her, so.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, there was, the last open house I held, not this past weekend, but 2 weekends ago. I had a few people come by and then one couple, but they even told me that they got married because the wife got pregnant in the back of his 57 Chevy. And I was
Wow.
like, that's, they were that comfortable. They gave me more information than I wanted to know, but
They're so happy, that's why.
yeah. But still, it's funny that just how friendly people can be, but also how open that they'll be.
Mm.
So I was already thinking like, now you have to list with me, because I know this about you, right? Like, come on. But what about you, MJ?
Well, I learned from your living legend,
Yeah,
so I've been doing a lot of open houses.
Yeah.
No problem.
how's the interaction with the people that walk there?
Well,
You
well,
mentioned that some people, if they don't want to sign, you don't even talk to them.
yeah, why would I do that? Like, they're throwing me some weird questions.
Because, so here's the thing,
Yeah,
if you don't talk to them,
yeah.
maybe they don't have an agent. And they don't know you, so they're like, I don't want to talk to her, I don't want to sign anything because I don't know her. But when you talk to them, maybe they like you. And maybe they say, hey, you know what? I want to sign with you.
No, it's not like that, okay, even though, okay, people, some people, there's an agent.
Mhm.
And then they're gonna sign in, right?
Yeah.
And then, okay, so I'm not your agent, so I'm gonna be just here, okay, just look around. They're like, weird captions, they're like, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, bye.
So you can answer questions like how many bedrooms, whatever's on the flyer, you can answer those questions.
I do.
Whatever's on the MLS and that's on all the portals, you can answer those questions. But anything beyond that, I would say, either sign the representation agreement or sign the non-agency agreement, saying that I don't represent you, so any answers I give you, I'm representing the seller, so. But Harriet, what about you? Give us some stories.
Hello.
Hi,
I
Carrie.
don't have a story today.
I meant Harriet, not Carrie, Harriet.
I'm sorry.
But Harriet is muted, so we can't hear what she's saying. All right, maybe she's not gonna share. Maybe she's away from her desk. But yeah, so interactions they're gonna differ, with different people. You might have some people that they don't want to talk, they just want to go in, look at the property and then go because there's other open houses they're visiting. But there's some that they're gonna want to chit chat and they're gonna talk about what they're looking for. And I had some of the neighbors come through and say, hey, if you sell this house for this much, I want you to call me because I want you to list my house too. I'm thinking about putting it on the market. I'm like, okay, that's great, but I haven't sold the house yet, so. But you'll be surprised, you might get other listings in the neighborhood, you might pick up some buyers. If you plan, if I wanted to, I could potentially farm that neighborhood. Because a lot of the neighbors know me from that open house, so many people came through that open house. And they see my signs everywhere, and they're used to having one or two, like neighborhood agents, right? Or neighborhood experts. And they already know who they are and all that stuff, but I'm like the new guy, the new face, the younger new face, and like, oh, he's got signs up, he's got his open house, he's a nice person, I've met him at the open house. So maybe that's a good opportunity for me to start marketing that neighborhood, because a lot of them already know me. They see my signs up, they see me putting up my open house signs on the different, corners and stuff, and so now I'm a familiar face. So that could create an opportunity. So again, these neighborhoods, and you guys are holding open houses, maybe for another agent that does not farm that neighborhood. If the listing agent that asked you to hold the open house is farming that neighborhood, you don't want to farm that neighborhood. You don't want to compete against them. But if they have a listing somewhere that they're not farming, and like in my situation where a lot of the neighbors came through and you're holding multiple open houses and they see you all the time, might be a good opportunity because now they know who you are. So. Any questions? No? This went pretty quick. Let me think of anything else. So what I do for this listing, what I do is I go in, I open the house. I draw all the blinds, make sure all the windows are clear, you can see through them, right? So any light that's coming in to make the house brighter, turn on all the lights in the house. If there's literally every light in the house, in the closets, in the bathrooms, each bedroom, living room, kitchen, everything. God, what else am I missing here?
Girl
You wanna
Scout
say-
cookies were popular at one of my open houses.
What was?
Girl Scout cookies?
Wait, did you sell them?
No, I just gave them out, or just had a couple open boxes.
Selling it, I think it was literally give away for free to people.
I know, you didn't give us any. You
Exactly.
came and sold them to us.
Well, they weren't getting free boxes; they were getting a cookie at a time. You guys don't need samples. You know what they taste like.
Yeah, but see, yeah, it's good to have like some treats out if you know you have a lot of people coming through. Like Holden, whenever he has broker previews, he has coffee and cookies. So whenever he has a broker's preview, go, because, you know.
That's
But
like
yeah, but then
Eskimo.
people come through and
Eskimo.
no, there was a time where during broker previews,
Mm.
let me stop the recording here because, during the broker previews,
Mm.